Hi everyone, this is Reema here, your biology educator from V-Learning. So as you know that V-Learning is an online educational platform where we strive to provide quality education for all. So to get all the benefits from our channel, do subscribe to it and also don't forget to visit our website, that is www.v-learning.in, where you will be getting all the PDF notes of these topics. So let's begin today's session. So in our previous session, we have learned about the prokaryotic cell, right? So in today's class, we are going to start with the eukaryotic cell, where you find all the cell organelles, right? Like the plasma membrane. Then in case of the plant, you will see the cell wall. Then the various cell organelles will be present in eukaryotic cell, like the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, isn't it? Mitochondria. So we'll be studying all these things under the eukaryotic cell. So the first thing we will see today is the plasma membrane and the cell wall, and which is your lecture number 3. So what do you mean by this plasma membrane? So plasma membrane is the outer surface of the cell, which provides protection to the cell. Okay, it provides what? It provides support and protection to the cell, and it is a living cell. Okay, it is a living cell. So as you can see in this picture, this is the accepted model of the plasma membrane. There were various scientists who has given various models of the plasma membrane. So when we're talking about plasma membrane, so see, plasma membrane is exactly which one? It is what? It is the outer membrane, right? So if this is a cell, right? This is a cell. So plasma membrane will be this one, okay? Plasma membrane is this one is your plasma membrane, okay? And inside the cell, various cell organelles will be present. You know that the nucleus, then the mitochondria, okay? The various cell organelles will be present inside the cell. And the outer surface is your plasma membrane. So there are various scientists who has given various models of the plasma membrane. So the most accepted model of the plasma membrane is the fluid mosaic model, okay, which was given by Singer and Nicholson in the year 1972, okay. Now, this plasma membrane, how the scientist has discovered the plasma membrane, the scientist has discovered with the help of the electron microscope, okay. With the help of the electron microscope, the scientist could reveal the structure of the plasma membrane. So, first they have noted, that is, they have examined the RBC cells, and in the RBC cells, that is, they could find out what are the chemical composition of the plasma membrane. So, by studying the RBC cells, the scientists found out that the plasma membrane also consists of the various chemical constituents. That is what they are made up of. The plasma membrane is made up of proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates. Okay. So, as you know that this plasma membrane is the outer membrane of the cell. So, what it does, it allows the transport of molecules. Okay. So, it allows the molecules to move inside and outside the cell. Okay, the water molecules can move inside and outside the cell. Okay, organic and the inorganic molecules can communicate with the cell. So they are selectively permeable. Okay, so this plasma membrane is selectively permeable. That is, they do not allow all the molecules to pass inside the cell. So see here in this picture, as you can see, it consists of glycoproteins. Okay, so we will study the structure in detail. So see, how is the structure of plasma membrane? So it is consisting of phosphate and the lipid. Okay, so it is also known as bilayer structure because it consists of 2 layers of phosphate group and the lipids. Okay, so see, these are the phosphate groups. Okay, so a chain of phosphate groups which is present in the external and internal surface. Okay, so these are what? These are the phosphate and lipid. Okay, so altogether known as phospholipid. So plasma membrane consists of a bilayer of bilayer of phospholipids. Okay, so this is the bilayer of phospholipid. So this is phospholipid, right? So now as you can see that the plasma membrane communicates the inside and the outside the cell. So the outside the cell is the extracellular matrix, okay? And here this portion is the cytoplasm, okay? So this one, as you can see, this is the phosphate group, okay? And this one is the lipid, okay? This is the lipid. So this is lipid and this is phosphate, all right? So this is lipid and this is phosphate. So these phosphate groups, they are facing towards the water, okay? So they are facing towards the water. So they are water loving, okay? So they are facing towards the water. They are known as hydrophobic, okay? So, hydrophilic. Philic means they are loving, okay? So, the phosphate groups which are facing towards the water, they are known as what? They are known as hydrophilic, okay? Hydrophilic. That means what? That means water loving, okay? And as you can see, this is the lipids, okay? So lipids are not facing the water, okay? They are inside, right? So they are known as what? They are known as hydrophobic, okay? So this part is your hydrophobic. Clear? So phobic means they hate the water, okay? Fear of water. So hydrophobic means what? Water hating. So basically you will see the structure of the plasma membrane is made up of phosphate and the lipid groups, all right? So these are the phosphate chains, okay, and which are joined together with the lipids. So here you can see two layers, right? So it is known as what? It is known as bilayer, okay? So it is also known as bilayer. So, talking about the chemical composition of the plasma membrane. So, what are the chemical composition? The chemical composition of the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is made up of protein, lipid, and carbohydrate, okay? So when we see the structure of the plasma membrane, it is made up of various chemical constituents like protein, lipids, and the carbohydrates. So the model of the plasma membrane, that is the fluid mosaic model, if you see that, you will see that the chains of the phosphate, and here you will see the protein, okay? So here again the chains of phosphate group, and here again the proteins. So they are made up of different types of proteins. Basically they are made up of two types of proteins. One is internal protein and integral protein, and another is peripheral protein, okay? So one is integral protein, another is peripheral protein. So these are the two proteins which the plasma membrane is made up of. So let us draw the structure of plasma membrane. So if these are the phosphate groups, so they are facing what? They are facing the external and internal part, right? So the phosphate groups are water loving, right? So they are facing the water, right? So inside what you will see? You will see the hydrophobic tail, which are made up of what? Which are made up of lipids, right? So these are the lipids, okay? So plasma membrane is made up of phosphate and lipids. So as you can see, these are the lipids, right? And these are what? These are the phosphate groups, okay? So these are the phosphate groups. So here also you will find like this same, okay? So what are this protein? These proteins, what you can see, the big one, right? So these proteins are the internal proteins, all right? So yes, it will be like this. And here you will find some more proteins. They are known as periphery proteins. Okay, so as you can see that there are two types of protein present in the structure of plasma membrane. So this protein which are present inside, they are known as integral protein. Okay, they are known as integral protein, and this protein which is present at the end, they are known as peripheral protein. Okay, peripheral protein. So this is about it, and here you will find that in the protein some sugar molecules will be attached. Okay, so in the protein the sugar molecules will be attached. They are known as what? They are known as glycoprotein. Okay, so they are known as glycoproteins. So they are attached to the protein, so they are known as glycoprotein. So see, when the sugar molecule will be attached to the lipid, okay, so this is the lipid, right? So it will be attached here. So it will be known as what? It will be known as glycolipid, all right? So when the sugar molecule is attached to the protein, it is known as glycoprotein, right? And when the sugar molecule is attached to the lipid, it is known as glycolipid. So this is how the structure of plasma membrane looks like. In between here, you will find cholesterol also, that is the fatty acids. So just look at the picture. So you can see here, this are oligosaccharides. Okay, this is the that is the various sugar molecules which are joined together. They are known as oligosaccharides. So these are the glycoproteins. As you can see, these are joined to the proteins, right? So the sugar molecules are joined to the protein, so they are known as glycoprotein. So here you can see that this is the integral protein, the bigger one, right? And that is, these are the peripheral protein which are towards the end. So this is how the structure of plasma membrane looks like. Yes. Next, let us see what is this plasma membrane. You can note it down. It is also called what? It is also called a cell membrane. So the plasma membrane is also called as what? It is also called as the cell membrane. It is found in all the cells. Okay, so this plasma membrane is found in all the cells, like in case of plant cell, in case of animal cells, and in case of bacterial cells also, the plasma membrane is present. So what it does, it separates the interior of the cell from the outside environment. Okay, so it provides what? It provides protection, and also what it does, it separates the internal and the external environment. Okay, it consists of what? It consists of lipid bilayer. So as you have seen that it has got two bilayer, right? Like this you have seen, isn't it? So these are what? These are nothing but the lipid bilayer. Okay, so it has got two bilayers. So these are the lipid bilayer. So plasma membrane is made up of lipid bilayer that is semi-permeable. What do you mean by this semi-permeable? Sorry, semi-permeable. So what does it mean? Semi-permeable means it will not allow all the molecules to get inside the cell. Okay, so it is selectively permeable. It is only providing permission to the essential cells which are necessary to essential molecules, which are necessary to the cell. Okay, so it is not allowing all the molecules to get inside the cell. It will allow only the essential molecules which are necessary to the cell, right? So this is semi-permeable. This is very, very important. Okay, plasma membrane is semi-permeable. So the plasma membrane regulates the transport of materials entering and exiting the cell. So it is responsible for regulating the molecules which enters and which goes out the cell. So you can call it is as the master of the cell. Okay, it is responsible for controlling all the activities which is taking place in the cell, right? So next, how this plasma membrane was discovered. As I said that it was discovered after the invention of the electron microscope. Okay, so the invention of electron microscope, when it was invented in the year 1950. So the microscope, that is the electron microscope, it was invented in the year 1950. 50. So after that, the detailed study of the plasma membrane was done. So there were various scientists who have given various models of the plasma membrane, like the unit cell model of plasma membrane. Then another model was Daniel Davidson model, and the most accepted model is your fluid mosaic model, which we are studying, right? So the diagram which you have seen, it is the fluid mosaic model of the plasma membrane. Okay, so it was given by Singer and Nicholson in the year 1972. Clear? So after that, the RBC cells, the study of the RBC cells reveal the chemical structure or the chemical composition of the plasma membrane, that what are the chemicals it is made up of. So the chemical study on the cell membrane was done on the RBCs. Okay, so after that, the scientists could find out that the plasma membrane is made up of various chemical composition like the protein, lipids, and the carbohydrates, and they could make out the actual structure of the plasma membrane. Yes. Next. So let us see what are the components of the plasma membrane. So the cell membrane is mainly composed of the lipids and the proteins, but it was also seen that the cell, that is the plasma membrane, also consists of what? Carbohydrates. So mainly the cell membrane consists of what? Lipid and the protein. So the major lipids are what? The phospholipids. Okay, that is the phosphate groups and the lipids. So the major lipid is your phospholipid. Okay, this is the major lipid which is present in the plasma membrane. Okay, that are arranged in bilayer, as you have seen that how they are arranged, right? Yes. Also, the lipids are arranged within the membrane with the polar head towards the outer side and the hydrophobic tail towards the inner part, right? I said you what is hydrophobic and what is hydrophilic. So as you have seen that how they are arranged, that is the hydrophobic, right? Hydrophobic tail which is towards the inner side, right? So this is the tail, right? This is the tail. So this hydrophobic means fear of water. Okay, fear of water. So it is towards inside, and this is the head. The head is made up of what? The head is made up of the phosphate group, right? So this phosphate group or the phosphate is towards what? Facing the outer side, right? It is facing the water. That is, it is hydrophilic. So this head is what? This head is hydrophilic, that is water loving, right? And the tail is what? The tail is your hydrophobic, right? Hydrophobic means it is fear of water. So it is inside, right? So it is inside, isn't it? And as you can see, it is outside. It is facing the external membrane. So this is how the phospholipids are arranged in the plasma membrane. So later what happens, the scientists have discovered that the plasma membrane also consists of what? Carbohydrates. Okay, so carbohydrate is also present. So it was said that the plasma membrane consists of major three components. Okay, major three components, that is the lipids, okay, lipids, protein, and the carbohydrates. Okay, and the carbohydrates. So these are the three chemical components of the plasma membrane, right? Yes. What is the ratio of the protein and the lipid? The ratio of the protein and the lipid is different in different types of cells. Okay, it may be different in case of plant cell, it will be different in case of animal cell. So it is varying. Okay, it is different. So in human being, the membrane of the erythrocyte has approximately what? Approximately 52% of protein and 40% of lipids. Okay, so in case of membrane, it is seen when it was examined the RBC cells, it was seen that the percentage of the lipid is your 40%, whereas the percentage of the protein, it was found as 52%, right? So this is all about it. Now talking about the various types of proteins, as you have seen that what are the two types of proteins? One is your integral protein, right? And another is peripheral protein. So what is this integral protein? Integral means what? It is present inside, isn't it? It is present inside, and peripheral means it is towards the periphery. So it is present, it is lies on the surface, okay? It lies where? It lies on the surface of plasma membrane. So the peripheral protein, it lies on the surface of plasma membrane, that is towards the periphery, okay? Towards the periphery. Whereas this integral protein, they are totally buried in the membrane, okay? So as you have seen that there are two types of protein. So this is how the plasma membrane, right? So these are what? These are the integral. These are the integral proteins which is totally buried inside, right? So yes. So this is what? This is your integral protein, right? And here you will find some protein lying here, right? So these are known as what? These are known as the peripheral proteins. So these proteins are known as the peripheral protein, which are lying towards the surface, isn't it? So as you can see, plasma membrane consists of two types of protein, integral protein and the peripheral protein. So this integral protein is totally buried inside the plasma membrane, and the peripheral protein is lying towards the periphery, right? So this is the fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane, which was given by Singer and Nicholson in the year 1972. So this is the most accepted model of plasma membrane, where he has clearly explained about the structure of plasma membrane. Okay, so we have already discussed about it, right? So what are the various components? Next, see, the Singer and Nicholson, he has proposed the fluid mosaic model. So this model of plasma membrane is known as the fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. So this is the quasi-fluid nature of lipid which enables the movement of molecules inside the cell. So this is flexible, okay? This is what? This is flexible, and because of its flexibility, the molecules can easily move inside the cell, okay? So there is a lateral movement of proteins within the bilayer, okay? So this ability to move within the membrane is measured as fluidity, okay? So is measured as fluidity. So they have proposed this. So what are the functions of the plasma membrane? So when talking of the plasma membrane, I have already said that plasma membrane is responsible for the process of transportation of molecules, isn't it? So it also provides what? It also provides support and protection to the cell, okay? So one of the most important function of plasma membrane is transport of molecules across it, okay? So what is the most important function? It is responsible for transport of molecules within the cell, okay? Cell also needs the food, right? How it will get energy? So there needs to be transportation of food, there needs to be transportation of molecules. So the plasma membrane is involved in the transportation of molecules, right? The fluid nature of the membrane is also important from the point of view of functions like cell growth. So the plasma membrane also responsible for the growth of cell, okay, and the formation of intercellular junctions, secretion, endocytosis, cell division, etc. So these are also the function of plasma membrane. So what are the various other functions like cell division, cell growth, okay? Then secretion, then formation of what? Intercellular junctions. So these are also the other functions of plasma membrane. So this is selectively permeable. This is very, very important, okay? So plasma membrane is selectively permeable. Now here question will come that why plasma membrane is selectively permeable? Why it is called is selectively permeable? Because we have already discussed, right? Because it allows only the selected molecules to pass inside the cell, okay? So it allows only the selected molecules to get inside the cell. So that's why it is selectively permeable, right? Yes. So now let us study what are the various transport system. Okay, so inside the plasma membrane, how the molecules get transported. So there are various transport system which is responsible for the transportation of the molecules, right? Molecules means the water molecules, the organic and the inorganic substances. So yes, first one is the passive transport. Okay, so in this transportation, there is no involvement of ATP. Okay, ATP means what? That is energy. Energy is not required by the cell. Okay, so that is passive transport. Another is osmosis, and the third one is what? Active transport. So in the active transport, what happens? Involvement of ATP is required. Okay, so yes, this passive transport, what happens? It is again divided into two types, that is the simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion. Now, what is the simple diffusion? Simple diffusion means they are water molecules, okay? So, these water molecules, they have the capacity to cross the lipid bilayer. They can easily move through the lipid bilayer. But in case of some other molecules which require support, okay, they cannot cross the lipid bilayer. They cannot cross the lipid bilayer of the plasma membrane. So, they require support. So, in that case, the facilitated diffusion is necessary. So here facilitated diffusion, it again requires some proteins. Okay, it again requires some proteins. So these are known as the carrier proteins, or through various channels. Okay, so through various channels the molecules are helped to pass through the plasma membrane. So there are some proteins like the porins. Okay, so this allows the porins allows the molecules to pass the lipid bilayer. Okay, so this is what this is the facilitated diffusion. We will study in detail in chapter number 11 about this topic. Next is what? Osmosis. So osmosis, you have been studying from the lower class that it is the movement of molecules from the higher concentration to the lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane, right? So the molecules, it has the capacity to pass from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. That is what osmosis. And it requires what? It requires the ATP, that is the energy is required in case of active transportation to transfer what? To transfer the molecules. Okay, so basically here the protein pump, that is Na plus K plus, is a protein pump which is used for the transfer of molecules. Okay, so let us study the passive transport. So what is this passive transport? As you know that passive transport is what? It is one of the transportation system for transferring the molecules through the plasma membrane. Okay, through the lipid layer of the plasma membrane. So this many molecules can move briefly across the membrane without any requirement of energy, that is ATP, which we have already discussed, right? So there are some water molecules. Okay, some water molecules, they can easily cross the plasma membrane. So this is the plasma membrane, right? So water molecules, they have the capacity to easily cross the lipid bilayer. Okay, so these are water molecules, for example, they have the capacity to cross the lipid bilayer. Okay, so here there is no involvement of energy, that is ATP is not necessary. So this is called as what? This is called as passive transport. Next is what? Osmosis. So some molecules, they pass through a semi-permeable membrane, that is the movement of molecules from a region of higher concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. For example, you have done one experiment in your lower classes. So you have taken one potato, right? and you have made what? Cavity inside it, isn't it? Then you have put what? You have put the sugar solution here. You have put sugar solution here and equal amount of water you have put here, isn't it? So what you will see that after 30 minutes, the water rises here, okay? That is in the sugar, the water rises. So here what happens, the potato membrane, it acts as what? Semi-permeable membrane, okay? It acts as semi-permeable membrane. So as you can see that the water molecules which are here, the water molecules, it will be moving towards what? Towards the higher concentration, isn't it? So this is what? This is osmosis through a semi-permeable membrane. Yes. Now what happens in active transport? So in active transport, what happens? They need a special pump, okay? So that is known as what? That is known as Na plus K plus pump. So with the help of this protein pump, so the transportation of molecules takes place, okay? The molecules are transported, okay? The molecules, the inorganic molecules, let's say, they are transported with the help of this special protein pump, and there is involvement of ATP, okay? So that is active transport. So some of the polar molecules, for example, water molecules, okay? For example, water molecules which cannot pass through the non-polar lipid bilayer. So what is this non-polar lipid bilayer? So see the plasma membrane, isn't it? So this is what? This is the non-polar lipid bilayer, okay? So this is the non-polar lipid bilayer, okay? So some molecules cannot pass through it. So in that case, they require a special protein pump, that is Na plus K plus pump, which helps the molecules to cross the plasma membrane, to cross the lipid bilayer. Clear? So they require a carrier protein. So it is what? It is basically a carrier protein. Na plus K plus pump is your carrier protein, okay? So which helps what? Which helps the molecules to cross the membrane. So here what happens? There is requirement of energy. So they need ATP, right? So this is what? This is called as active transportation. Example, Na plus K plus pump. So this is all about it. That is, what are the various transport systems required for the transportation of molecules in the plasma membrane. So we have seen the passive transport, osmosis, and the active transport, right? So they are responsible for what? Transportation of molecules, right? So this is all about the plasma membrane which you have learned. So you have seen that the plasma membrane, how is the structure of it, and you have seen that what is the fluid mosaic model, what are the various chemical composition of the fluid mosaic model, right? And also we have seen the various transport system, right? So what are the various transport system of the plasma membrane? So next topic we will learn is the cell wall. So cell wall, in case of animals, is it present? Yes, in case of animals, it is present or absent? It is absent, right? Cell wall we will find only in case of plants, isn't it? So only in case of plants, then in case of what? In case of bacteria, then only in case of fungi. So the cell wall of the fungi is made up of chitin. So see, if this is the cell, all right, so this is the cell, then this one, okay, then outer membrane is your cell wall, okay. So this portion is the cell wall, then this is the plasma membrane, okay. This is the plasma membrane, and here various cell organelles are present, okay. So cell wall we see in case of plants, in case of bacteria, in case of fungi. So they are again made up of various constituents like cellulose, then magnesium pactate, okay, hemicellulose. So in case of plants, that is, the cell wall is very much rigid, isn't it? So why it is rigid? Because it needs to provide protection to the cell, and it is a non-living rigid structure. So cell wall is living or non-living? The cell wall is non-living. Okay, it is a non-living rigid structure. Okay, which is the covering of the plasma membrane of the fungi and the plants. So as you can see, it is the covering of the plasma membrane. So after the cell wall, the plasma membrane is present, isn't it? So as you can see, this is the structure of the cell wall. So in case of the plants, we will see the three thing basically in the plant cell. It is made up of primary cell wall, all right. It is made up of primary cell wall, then secondary cell wall, and third one is middle lamella. So as you can see in this structure, this portion is the cytoplasm. Okay. So inside the cytoplasm, all the cell organelles will be lying. So the first layer, okay, the first layer of the cell is the primary cell wall. So this primary cell wall will be very thin. Okay, it is very thin and it is very flexible. So in case of the tulsi, you will see the shrubs, right? So it is green in color, isn't it? They are consisting of primary cell wall. Okay, so this primary cell wall is responsible for the meristematic activity of the cell. So what it does, it helps in growth and division of the cells. Okay, so the primary cell wall, what it does, it basically helps in what? It basically helps in the growth and division of the cells. Okay, and it is flexible, it is thin. And then what you will find, the next one you will find is the secondary cell wall. So after that, inside you will find another layer, that is the secondary cell wall, which is thick. Okay, in case of the woody plants, okay, it helps in the formation of the wood. All right. So in case of the woody plant, that is the mature plant, you will see this secondary cell wall. Okay, so secondary cell wall, it basically provides support. Okay, it is providing thickness to the plant. Okay, so it is rigid, and then in between you will can see another layer which is known as the medial lamella. Okay, this you can see, right? It is known as the middle lamella. Okay, it is known as the middle lamella, which is connecting, okay, connecting the cells. It helps in the connection between the two cells. Okay, so that is, it consists of plasmodesmata, which is a junction. Okay, so it connects one cell to another. So this is how the cell wall of the plant looks like. So see, the cell wall is not only giving shape to the cell. So this is the function of the cell. It also provides what? It also provides protection to the cell, okay, against the mechanical damage and the infection. So the cell wall, it is not only providing protection. So what are the function? It is providing protection, it is providing support, mechanical support, then it provides protection against what? Against infection. So then it provides what? It provides turgidity. It provides turgidity to the cell, right? Rigidity. So it also helps in cell-to-cell interaction. Okay, this is very important. So it also helps in what? Cell-to-cell interaction through the plasmodesmata. Okay, through the plasmodesmata. All right, through the plasmodesmata, it also helps in cell-to-cell interaction and provides barrier to the undesirable macromolecules. Okay, so it does not allow the undesirable macromolecules to get inside the cell. So see, how is the structure of the cell wall, as we have already discussed, right? So if we look into the structure, so it will be like this, isn't it? The structure of the plant cell, hexagonal. So something like this. Yes. So here what you will find, this is having what? This is having layers. So here this one is the middle lamella. Let's say this will be the middle lamella. Here the middle lamella, right? So this is the primary cell wall. Then After that primary cell wall, here you will see the secondary cell wall, right? And this is the middle lamella, okay? So these are what? These are the plasmodesmata, okay? These are the plasmodesmata, which is the junction, okay? Which is the junction and providing cell-to-cell interaction. So the primary cell wall, it consists of what? It consists of meristematic tissue, okay? So it consists of meristematic tissue. So this meristematic tissue, what it does, it helps in the growth and division. So it is capable of growth, which is gradually diminishing as the cell matures to the secondary wall, okay? So slowly and slowly, when the cell matures to the secondary wall, it will be reducing, okay? So yes, secondary cell wall, so it will be reducing. Secondary cell wall is formed at the inner side of the cell. So the middle lamella is a layer mainly of calcium pactate which holds and granules on the different neighboring cells together, okay? So the middle lamella is basically holding the cells, okay? So this portion, as you can see, this is the middle lamella. What it does, it is made up of what? Calcium and magnesium pactate. So it is made up of calcium pactate, okay? So this is made up of calcium pactate, so which is what? Which is joining the cells, okay? Joins the cells, it holds the cells, okay? And it helps in cell to cell communication. The cell wall and the middle lamella may be transferred by plasmodesmata, okay, which connects the cytoplasm of the neighboring cells. So the middle lamella, and it is connected to the plasmodesmata, so which helps in the connection of the cell. So this is how the structure of the cell wall looks like, right? So in today's class, we have learned about the plasma membrane and the cell wall, isn't it? So I hope you understood all the topic which is discussed in today's class. So if you like this video, do like it and share it with others. So be connected with Vista's learning. In my next class, I'll be starting with a new topic. Till then, keep learning and bye-bye.